அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். தமிழ் தாயின் பாதம் பணிந்து வள்ளுவனார் பாதம் பணிந்து இன்றைய நிகழ்வை நாம் தொடுக்கின்றோம். Let me welcome all of you. Today we are in the 16th section of the new beginning of the year 2021. It's an amazing journey we have experienced in the past 1 year with Dr. Arumugam Parasuraman. Today we have Dr. G. Viswanathan, Mr. RajaRam, and all the other scholars who have been supporting us in the past with us to celebrate today's event. Vellore Kudumbam and VIT Tamil, together with Thirukkural International Thirukkural Foundation, I am from TamilNadu, Sydney. We will be conducting the program today. Thirukkural as a step ahead towards UNESCO. We are marching towards UNESCO, and our ultimate motivation is to go to UNESCO and take Thirukkural as a universal literature. With the great initiative and guidelines of Dr. Parasuraman, we were able to do these 16 sessions on various topics, people from various parts of the world who were able to highlight the richness of Thirukkural in various aspects. International Thirukkural Foundation, Mauritius, Tamil Mandram, initiated and conducted the first session, and then we were supported by Vellore Kudumbam and the VIT Tamil to continue this journey. Thank you very much for everyone who joined today. These conferences are given and increase the confidence we have in Dr. Arumugam Parasuraman, whose tireless efforts to take Thirukkural to UNESCO. And we started with Honorable Mr. Justice R. Mahadevan, High Court of Madras, as our guest in the first initiative. And today we have VIT's Vice Chancellor, Dr. G. Viswanathan, and the great book written by Mr. RajaRam, who is also with us today. With this introduction, let me hand over to Mr. Arumugam Parasuraman to continue today's journey. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Chandrika. And I would like to join you and join all the organizers, Voice of Vellore, TamilNadu, VIT Tamil, to an International Thirukkural Foundation to extend a very warm welcome with all respect and recognition of the great work that Dr. G. Viswanathan and Mr. RajaRam have been doing to promote Tamil language, to promote Tamil culture, but in particular, to promote Thirukkural. So we are very, very much grateful and honored for you to have accepted to join us in this series of international conferences. And as Dr. Chandrika mentioned, to join us on the journey of taking Thirukkural to the world. But also, we feel reconforted. We feel very, very much encouraged that we have two new stalwart, two new soldiers of Vellore, two new ambassadors of Vellore who will be with us going from TamilNadu, from taking Thirukkural to the world. So this is in this context that I would like to once again thank you and express our gratitude. Dr. Chandrika has clearly and succinctly presented the objective of the conferences. What I will do, because we are very impatiently waiting to hear our two speakers, I will therefore introduce our two speakers and then invite them to address the conference. First, I will start with Dr. G. Viswanathan, Founder Chancellor of VIT University, who started in a very modest way in a remote village near Vellore, but his CV is a source of inspiration to all of us, and especially to the modern youth, the youth of today. As a student himself, he completed the advanced management program at Harvard Business School in 2003, nearly 4 decades of his university education, reaffirming his urge to be an eternal student. He excelled in academics right through childhood. His early education was confined to his small village, where he studied his mother tongue, Tamil. His pre-university education at Voorhees College, Vellore, initiated him to the world outside. From there, he went on to obtain the bachelor's and master's degree in economics from the prestigious Loyola College, Chennai. Following this, he graduated in law from the Madras Law College. A student leader in his 20s, entering Indian Parliament was something unthinkable, especially in 1960s. He championed people issues in the Parliament, and that in turn reposed faith in the leader who fulfilled their expectations. They re-elected him by bigger margin in the next election for another 5-year term. He traveled to different parts of the world as a member of the parliamentary delegations and appreciated issues in a global perspective. Dr. GV wanted to play a bigger role in provincial politics so that he can make a direct contribution in bettering the lives of the people in the region. He was elected to TamilNadu Legislative Assembly for 10 years, and during this period, he will serve as minister for 2 years. I would pay tribute and respect to this great educator that Dr. G. Viswanathan is. He founded Vellore Engineering College in 1984 at Vellore. He envisaged that this institution would offer world-class education to students who would in turn create an indelible impact on society. The engineering colleges that started with an intake of 180 students in 1984 has evolved into a university with 2 campuses. Over 25,000 students are enrolled in 53 undergraduate and graduate programs, with nearly 16,000 residing on campus. It attracts students and professors from different parts of the world. It houses more than 1,000 international students on campus. For the past 2 years, VIT University has been ranked first private engineering institution in India, ISO certification from Holland, international accreditation from the United Kingdom and the USA, and the highest accreditation grade from the government of India reflect the university's penchant for excellence on all fronts, but I would add, reflects the vision, the determination, and the mission of Dr. G. Viswanathan. Dr. Viswanathan's passion for societal development and compassion for the underprivileged has resulted in the introduction of several schemes for uplifting the women and unemployed youth in the region to help them become self-reliant. Dr. Viswanathan offers scholarships to students from disadvantaged sections of the society to enable them to pursue higher studies. He established the Universal Higher Education Trust to create opportunities for higher education to every deserving student in the region. He has adopted several villages in an effort to improve the quality of lives of the rural people. His vision of transforming Vellore into a greener and cooler town by planting 1 million saplings has begun to yield fruit. Dr. Viswanathan's foresightedness extends beyond horizons. In fact, it's rightly said that Chancellor Viswanathan is an institution by himself. And I must say, I have a great respect for you, sir. I had the privilege of visiting you when I was minister and then occasionally meet. But today I feel very gratified and we are all very happy to have you with us, especially to give the keynote introductory address to this conference where we will have Dr. RajaRam, who will be presenting the main address. So welcome once again. And thank you for being an inspiration to all of us. And I must say, we look to you, your institution, your example as a model which should inspire our community. And with regards to all your dedication for the social part of it, that I must say stands out tremendously, because you are not only focusing on your universities, on achievement, but you're caring for the vulnerable group. You are caring for the needy section in the society. And this puts you very much into putting into practice what Vellore says. So you are not only a scholar, who have worked in this field, but also promoting Thirukkural, but you're an example of somebody who is putting into practice what Vellore preaches. We have to serve others, we have to serve the most vulnerable, and we have to serve humanity, and this is what you're doing. So thank you very much for your, once again, for your participation. Allow me now to introduce my very good and respected friend and Dr. M. Rajaram, whom I've known for many years, both in my days as minister, but more recently in the activity that we launched in connection with the International Thirukkural Foundation, but also in connection with promoting Tamil culture and languages in Mauritius. He has always been somebody who is very open-minded, he listens to you, and I must say he's a man of action. He will realize, he will just remember what I'm talking about with reference to what he did to clear a 10-year-old long-standing issue with regards to the Anna chair in Mauritius. So thank you, Mr. Rajaram. Well, you also, being a very distinguished civil servant of India, where you have had a lot of experience in various departments in the administration, and you had your postgraduate degree in English and education, a BL degree and PhD in HRD. You have been a distinguished administrator with diversified experience in governance of several significant sectors. You're also an academician, decisive problem solver, adroit in framing and implementing the policies of the government, with flair for new initiatives, and currently you are serving as a non-judicial member of the TamilNadu Lokayukta. You have served the state of Tamil Nadu for over 36 years with an unblemished track record and several accomplishments in various important assignments, while maintaining a reputation for impeccable integrity and professionalism. Your efficiency in civil administration brought you many prestigious awards. You are a passionate educationist, and your research papers have received much acclaim at the national level. You published more than 40 books, and quite a few of them inspired by Thirukkural, like The Glory of Thirukkural, The Glory of Tamil, among others. I will not list the 40 books, but you are a distinguished author who has greatly contributed to the knowledge sharing in India. I think the highlight of your contribution with regards to Thirukkural, and where you graciously offered me a copy of your book when I visited you in Corporate Wisdom in Thirukkural, and this publication, I must say, stands out tremendously, not only for the book itself, but for the teachings, for the knowledge that it gives to empower managers and to make sure that, as Vellore preaches in his Kural, various verses talking about good governance, management, and so on, your book highlight all these facets and make it easily understandable and practicable, so that it's a useful tool for managers and good governance. Well, but it's also, the book is also recognized for the very the very deserved tribute that a late Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, former President of India, has given you in the foreword. And I would just like to quote one short paragraph of what President Kalam said. He said, "This book, Corporate Wisdom, will surely be a guide for all people in various walks of life, especially leaders in the corporate world and in government. In many ways, it paves the way paves the path to success and happiness. It provides a lot of tips on management." This is the message from President Abdul Kalam on your book. I will leave you to uncover, to present to us this your knowledge and your experience of Thirukkural in the area of corporate wisdom. So I will not elaborate more than that. But let me conclude by saying that you've also been the president of the Indian Officers Association. And I would like to also mention that while we know the world is full of people who lead their life not merely to exist, but also to set an example to be followed, these kind of men influence and motivate others by the magnitude of their achievements. And today we are very privileged to have two great personalities from TamilNadu, Dr. Viswanathan and Dr. RajaRam, who are both such men who have silently engraved their name in Tamil Nadu and also in the record books. Mr. RajaRam, your support to the cause of women education, particularly the tribals in Kanchipuram and Salem districts, is also noteworthy. I would like to quote Mr. N. Vittal, IAS former Chief Vigilance Officer of India, who said, "Dr. RajaRam, IAS, is a sparkle of light in the civil society. His interest and involvement in Tamil cover a wide spectrum of activities, translation of ancient Tamil classics into Mandarin and Arabic, and setting up Tamil galleries." So with these words, let me now leave all our distinguished participants the time and the opportunity now to listen to our two great speakers. And I would therefore invite first our respected Dr. G. Viswanathan to deliver his introductory presidential address on this occasion, to be followed by Dr. RajaRam. Thank you very much. Nandri Vanakkam.
Sir, you are not audible, sir. Kindly switch on. Kindly unmute your mic, sir.
Am I audible now?
Fine,
Yes,
sir.
you're right.
Oh, sorry, something happened. Anavarakkam Vanakkam. Mr. Dr. Parasuraman, President of the International Thirukkural Foundation from Mauritius and former Minister of Education and Science, Government of Mauritius. Dr. RajaRam, IAS retired, who is the author of Thirukkural, going to be the speaker today. Dr. Chandrika from the Tamil Valarchi Mandram of Australia, and valaitamil.com, Dr. Parsardi, and Dr. Prabhakaran, who is recently published a book on Thirukkural from US, and other participants from Australia, US, India, and I find somebody, our friend from Guwahati, Assam, also joining various parts of the country and various parts of the globe. I thank all of you for this opportunity. I always feel that Tamils are a race with no comparison, because we have Thirukkural. No other language can claim such a book as Thirukkural, so we are the blessed ones. We live in 160 countries, Tamils. In more than 100 countries, we have citizenship rights. But we rarely come together. Sometimes we try to connect with each other if not possible. That's why in 2019, probably Dr. Parasuraman may not be aware, or he forgot, that we started this Tamil Iyakam in 2018, October 15th, in Chennai, the capital of TamilNadu. And ultimately, we want all the Tamils of the world to unite. And that's our purpose. And of course, 2 years have gone because of Corona. The first time, more than 30 political parties in Tamil Nadu came on one stage. Normally, it doesn't happen. In the name of Tamil, we invited them and also participated. I told them, Madathal, Jadiyal, Kachiyal, Pirindirukkurom, Moriyal, Onrupaduvom. We will unite in the name of language, and they responded. I thank all the parties, and my wish is that we should be able to unite. At least sometimes we should be able to meet somewhere or other, because we are there throughout the world. And today's topic, of course, RajaRam is going to be the speaker, who has written a book on Thirukkural with a foreword by Abdul, Kalam, and other leading lights. I'm happy that he had taken the initiative, and I would thank Dr. Parasuraman for arranging this wonderful meeting today. Well, Thiruvallur lived about in the 1st century BC, according to the Tamil scholars. It was agreed that it should be 1st century BC. So it is 2,100 years almost. And even now he is relevant because he is universal. He is acceptable to all the religions, all the countries, all the races. That's why the Tamil proverb says, Alum velum pallukkurudi, Nalum rendum sollukkurudi. I hope Dr. Parasuraman understands this. Nalum rendu means Naladiyar and Thirukkural. Naladiyar has 4 sentences, and Thirukkural has 2 lines. That's why they say it is strengthening the Tamil. And I would like to quote, some of you might have known, that when Gandhiji was his earlies, he wrote a letter to Leo Tolstoy, who was living in Moscow. And he narrated about his non-violent agitations in India and wanted his opinion. And Tolstoy wrote a letter back to Gandhiji, congratulating him for this non-violent agitation. But he said this is not new to India. 2,000 years ago, a poet has written about this. And he quoted Thirukkural and informed Gandhiji that there is a Tamil poet who has already written about this non-violent agitation. Inna seidare oruthal avarnana nannayam seidu vidal. When Gandhiji saw this, then he ordered a Thirukkural book in English language, and mostly he read it in prison, when he was in prison. And he said, if I get a second birth, next birth, I should be born as a Tamilian and read Thirukkural in Tamil. Gandhiji said, the maxims of Vellore have touched my soul. There is more there is moved to who have given. There is nobody who has given such a treasure of wisdom like him in the world. Gandhiji has said, and that's how he has been giving so much to the world. It's not only for TamilNadu or India, he has given it for the entire world. That's why G.U. Pope says he was undoubtedly one of the great geniuses of the world. That's what he said. Again, Rabindranath Tagore, I would like to quote, the ideas of great Saint Thiruvallur will apply not only to India, but to the whole world. That's what he says. That's why Bharatiyar song says, Valluvan Thannai Ulaganikke Thandu Vaanpugal Konda Tamilnadu. We are given Vellore to the world and we have earned so much fame. And he never believed in caste, religion, etc. In those days, casteism has already come to the southern part of India, but he never believed it. That's why he said, Pirappuva Yavirkum. There is no difference in by birth, because it goes against. And it is Manonmaniyam Sundarnavar said, Valluvarsai Thirukkuralai Maruvara Nangunandor, Ulluvaro Manuvadi Urukulathu Kuranidi. Because Manu Dharma says that somebody was born in head, somebody was born in shoulder, somebody was born in the hip, and somebody was born in legs. This is how man is divided into 4 castes in those days. Chaturvarna, and later on it has become, now we have 25,000 castes in India. Vellore was Thiruvallur was totally against it. He never believed in caste or religion. I remember once Periyar EVR said, if at all, if you want a religion, we must have Vellore religion, Thirukkural religion. That's what he said. That's the kind of message he wanted to give to the humanity. He divided it into 3, Aram, Porul, Inbam, virtue, wealth, and love. And he has spoken about everything in life. There is, in fact, people say, if you ask any question, if you want to find an answer, go to Thirukkural. It will give you an answer for all kinds of things. That is the essence of Thirukkural. And he has spoken about everything. There is nothing which is not found in Thirukkural. Well, how is a father, how is a king, how is a teacher, how is a student, everything you will find an answer. And that's the kind of book we have. And it is the only one which has been translated in more than 100 languages. A non-religious book which has been translated in the maximum languages is Thirukkural. And we we find that at least 3 of them have written a book on Thirukkural in English. Mr. RajaRam, Mr. Prabhakaran, and Dr. Chandrika. We have 3 of them are here, and many more are writing on Thirukkural. And it started. The first translation was in Malayalam. It was in 16th century. I think it is 1595. Then came the Father Besky's translation in Latin. It was 1730. That was the first foreign language. Thirukkural was translated. Then it went to various European languages like English, French, and other languages. The maximum number of translation is in English language. I think it's more than 50 or so. And people, in fact, I used to think, if Thiruvallur has written this in English language, what would have been the popularity of Thirukkural in the world? It would have gone all over the world. But we are unable to do it because Tamils are not strong. English became an international language, not because of the strength of English language. It is because of the strength of Englishmen. So we have to become strong. Tamils have to become strong, economically strong also. Only then we will be able to do it. but we are there to some extent in many countries where I would like you to take it to take forward and translate into various languages, supply them with enough Thirukkural books. In fact, in India alone, I don't know how many of them from the north. In fact, Gandhiji himself has said, in the northern part of India, many of them do not know Thiruvallur or Thirukkural. That's happening. And it is our duty to see that it reaches all over India, all over the world, so that the benefit of the virtue, wealth, and love on which he has written 1,330 couplets, which is unique in the world, which is totally universal, which is acceptable to all the races, all the religions, all the countries, has to reach the people. And today, Dr. RajaRam is going to speak on management, corporate wisdom in Thirukkural. As I told you, he has not left any subject, and now Dr. RajaRam is going to select one, management, and is going to, I find in Thirukkural, it talks about leadership, it talks about selection of employees, and it talks about delegation. Delegation of duties. It talks about hard work and perseverance. It talks about decision making. It talks about ethical behavior, which is very, very essential, because in industry and business, it's very difficult to find total ethical behavior. That's where he insists that it should be ethical. These are the things, on various things is written, and now Dr. RajaRam is going to pick up those Thirukkurals and going to give it to us, and his views on management and particularly corporate management, what was the views of Thiruvallur. He has written more than 2,100 years ago, and RajaRam says it is applicable even to the present corporates, companies, and I'm happy that all of us are here, and I hope after the pandemic it will become a big association where we will be able to meet in various countries so that we will make Thirukkural more popular among the public, especially among the students, school students and college students. They must know about Thiruvallur, and they must have the wisdom of Thiruvallur's whatever he has said. And I am happy, and I would like to thank Dr. Parasuraman for having given me this opportunity. I will also like to hear the speaker, Dr. RajaRam, like you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Viswanathan, that was a very enlightening speech, presentation on Thirukkural, but also the guidance you give for how we should get Thirukkural among the students, the young people, and here I would like to refer to the judgment by Justice Mahadevan for making Thirukkural compulsory taught in the Tamil schools. Well, what I would like to say, Dr. Viswanathan, we rely on your continued support in this journey. We want you to be together with us, and so that we can go to UNESCO as soon as it is possible, as soon as COVID allows us to move, go to Paris, take Thirukkural, and bring Thirukkural to the world. And so I will be talking to you about it when I come to TamilNadu, and we'll discuss. But I'm sure you can be also of great support in getting this mission accomplished. Thank you very much once again. Dr. RajaRam, we are waiting for you to unveil the wisdom, the corporate wisdom, pearls of inspiration that you've written about Thirukkural. Thank you very much.
Today's chief guest, most respected and beloved Dr. G.V., Chancellor of VIT University, Dr. Parasuram Arumugam, Honorable Former Minister, Madam Dr. Chandrika, Dr. Rajendran, and my dear friends, and all Thirukkural lovers. At the outset, I deeply thank Honorable Dr. Parasuram Arumugam for giving me this opportunity to share a few words on corporate wisdom in Thirukkural. And I also thank Dr. GV for giving his consent to participate in this event. I spoke only to his PA. Immediately came the response of acceptance. Dr. GV is one person who has brought modern Nalanda University to TamilNadu in the name of VIT. He has led the life of several lakhs of students in India, not only in India, but also all over the world. I always admire him for his love for Tamil, especially for Thirukkural. In fact, when Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam gave foreword for my book on Thirukkural, he also said, why don't you think of some other medium of taking this Thirukkural to the masses, to some entertainment media? Then that gave birth to my new musical dance drama titled Kural Amudu, Ayirathil Varvan, that is in 1 in a million. Dr. GV also sponsored one program at Malaysian University. So why I tell this is because whenever anybody approaches Dr. GV for any support for the cause of Tamil or Thirukkural, never he would say no. That is the kind of response we say. I salute him for his noble gesture at this juncture. Thirukkural, though written 2000 years back, throws in-depth insight into the intricate business acumen of the Tamils, ancient Tamils. Though Thiruvallur has written about all aspects of life, his writings on administration and governance are something relevant to the present-day corporate world also. Thirukkural is an everlasting guide and companion. Some books become obsolete in their own time. Some survive for a century or two, but Thirukkural is in continuous use for more than 20 centuries and has been in continuous use for more than 20 centuries and has been, as rightly told by Dr. GV, been translated into most of the world languages. No wonder it is acclaimed as the universal scripture of the world. The humming bees bestow honey as boon to the humanity. In the same way, Thiruvallur, the poet and philosopher of ancient TamilNadu, has given 3 cups of honey as a gift to mankind in his masterpiece. Thirukkural is remarkable for its range of ideas and variety. It has been best known to the world for its outspoken universalism and attractive modernism. The men of public life can find nuances of business shrewdness, statecraft, polity, diplomacy in Thirukkural. When we cut the diamond to various shapes in order to make it very bright and glitter with radiance, it will shine with brilliance in several shades of color. Likewise, when we study Thirukkural deeply, there will emerge new and enlightening ideas which will throw new light on the wisdom of the Tamils. Vellore had a wider vision of the world. In order to alleviate the miseries of mankind, Vellore composed this universal book of egalitarianism with pragmatic suggestions as panacea to the sorrows and sufferings of the human race. Thirukkural is one of the precious assets that we have received from our forefathers. It reveals the width of the human heart, the depth of the human thought, and the subtleness of human consciousness in a very crystal clear way. Thiruvallur, the great sage and seer of TamilNadu, has painted a picture of an ideal life with great clarity and wider perspective. Thirukkural alone is enough to edify the world. It contains all aspects of wisdom, and there is nothing which it does not contain. The message of Thiruvallur is not pessimistic, but optimistic. He wants us to laugh even amidst great dangers, to overcome the dangers and sorrows. In Thirukkural, one can find a kaleidoscopic wisdom that will inspire the people to lead a simple and successful life with high thinking. Bhagavad Gita was preached by Lord Krishna and listened by a man. Thiruvasagam was sung by a man and the listener was the God. Thirukkural was sung by man for mankind. There is no genius, as rightly told by our Dr. GV, there is no genius as dear as Thiruvallur, who at the touch of his pen suddenly turns a dull and melancholic world into bowl of ambrosia. The pyramids of Egypt and the Qutub Minar in Delhi may be tall and stately, but they are made of dull stone and dead metal, built with the toiling work of the poor. Whereas Thirukkural was composed by a saintly poet to edify this world. With the passage of time, the pyramids and Qutub Minar may be reduced to dust, but not Thirukkural. If the Tamil classics are the Himalayas of human thoughts, Thirukkural is the Mount Everest soaring above the Himalayas themselves. It is the finest flower that has blossomed in the garden of Tamil culture, which will never become a faded flower that will lose its fragrance and brightness. Thirukkural as a book that deals with the art of living with so many nuggets of management wisdom is gaining universal acceptance. It transcends national boundaries, linguistic and religious barriers, historical and social limitations. It makes a great sense and relevance even today and for all times. Among the ethical works in Indian languages, Thirukkural stands supreme. Thiruvallur was not only a sage with a human heart, but also a psychologist, philosopher, astronomer, strategist, agronomist, management guru, and above all, a visionary with a deep insight into the complexities of human nature. Great thinkers belong to the world. More truly, Thiruvallur belongs not only to TamilNadu, but also to the world, the whole world. Thiruvallur has not dwelt upon any abstract thought or dogma. He is intensely conscious of the practical world, the noble as well as the ignoble, the haves as well as the have-nots, the honest as well as the dishonest, dwell side by side. He is solely concerned with the present world. To him, how one lives at present is a matter of supreme importance. The dynamics of Thirukkural has been richly complemented by various scholars, as told by Dr. G.V. Leadership lessons we learn from, we can gain many from our Thirukkural couplets. There are more than 150 couplets to be cited, but I will confine myself only to a few. Famous CEOs of various corporate companies have risen to the stardom through hard work and sincere efforts, or by business acumen, leaving indelible marks in the business world. They have made a difference in the relevant industries and radically changed the way of the companies do functioning. To them, thinking outside the box was normal thought process. Surely, Thiruvallur's management philosophy will further enhance their corporate skills. The management philosophy of Thiruvallur for the then kings are valuable guiding principles for the present-day administrators and also corporate leaders. The characteristics of a good administrator and an effective executive, as prescribed by Thiruvallur, are to be imbibed by the present-day corporate leaders in order to make themselves more effective and successful. Thirukkural is a mine of information for the modern administrators and executives. In fact, his comments have a greater validity today than when they were written. No doubt, we are accustomed to the multifarious interpretations and commentaries of Thirukkural, yet the end is not in sight like Draupadi's saree in the darbar of the Kauravas. However, Thirukkural commentaries have only scratched the surface. I have also attempted my book on corporate wisdom in Thirukkural to sail this uncharted ocean and reach the hitherto unknown land in Thirukkural, that is corporate world. The ascetic-looking Thiruvallur had some valuable hints up his sleeve about management philosophy and public administration, which sound as modern as the observations of Harvard professors. A weaver by profession, how did he manage to delve deep into the intricacies of the bureaucratic or business mind? Now we are poring over American books to learn the techniques of administration and the art of living in general, whereas Thiruvallur had already unraveled all those mysteries several centuries ago. Thiruvallur has something to say on all the important aspects of management and administration, like moving with the superiors, characteristics expected of good administrators or executives, mode of their selection, leadership qualities, public administration in a welfare state, communication, business ethics, project management, financial management, zeal, firmness in action, proper planning, choosing right people, choosing right time, setting reasonable target, etc. We get the impression as if we are reading the letters of Lord Chesterfield or Book of Samuel Smiles. In the modern democratic world, the state exists for the people's welfare, which Thiruvallur interprets in the widest sense of the term, that is virtue, that is goodness. Whether it is an individual or an organization, collection of revenue and mobilization of income is necessary. But Thiruvallur insists that money should come only by fair means. Hence, corporate governance has to be subsidiary to the virtue. While speaking about a welfare state, Thiruvallur categorically asserts, Angamai Veidiya Kannum, Bayamindre Vendamai Villada Nadu. If governance lacks love between the ruler and subjects, all of the things become worthless. Whatever said to the rulers are applicable to the modern management gurus. A good administrator has to instill confidence and all the essential qualities among his subordinate staff to build up a high morale. An ideal administrator excels in firmness, nobility, concern for others, knowledge, and efforts. Because of time constraint, let me confine to only English couplets. My translation of Thirukkural in couplet 632, firmness, nobility, concern, lore, and efforts. An ideal administrator has these 5 traits. Do it now is another important aspect of the corporate governance, which Thiruvallur also cites. An alert administrator will make quick decisions whenever required and plunge into action and inspire all his staff to work as a team. Procrastination, forgetfulness, sloth, and slumber are boats that self-doomed love to keep. And similarly, resoluteness, Thiruvallur makes a very great stress on it. A good administrator should have the willingness to take up responsibility and readiness to take risks and face challenges. The world will esteem no other power but the willpower to do whatever. Quarrel 670. And he should also be a good listener. A good administrator needs to be a good listener. The counsel of the righteous, when heeded, serves as a stick on a slippery ground. Listen to the wise words, however little, that much it elevates you still. And similarly, Thiruvallur talks about men around a king or a ruler should be there to reprove whenever there is something wrong. Good subordinates should be valued and kept in high esteem. They should be given the freedom to reprove the administrator whenever he goes wrong. The rarest of all the rare gifts known is cherishing great men as our own. Similarly, considerateness. One should be loving and kind to the people below. The good administrator should be fair and kind towards his employees. Of what use are the seeming eyes to the face if they have no sufficient grace? Thiruvallur makes a great stress on zeal, which is a very essential quality of the executives. Fame and name will be with the abundant. Fame and name will be with the abundant zeal, only with those with abundant zeal. One of the basic attributes of an administrator is his ability to deal with the problems and the people. Let your thoughts be high and lofty always. You may fall, but your zeal will always stay. Stem length of lily depends on water level. Men's greatness depends on their zeal. Akam adarvanai chellum. Wealth will ask and find the way to him who has unshaken enthusiasm. In my book on corporate wisdom, I have cited a case study which I would like to quote here. A jobless man applied for a position of office boy in a leading company. The HR manager interviewed him and gave him the task to clean the floor. At the end of it, the HR manager said, "You are selected. We will send you an appointment order through email ID. Please give your email ID." The jobless man replied, "I don't have a computer, neither an email ID. I'm sorry," said the HR manager. "If you don't have an email ID, that means you don't exist. And who does not exist cannot have the job." The man left the place. He was very vexed at not being selected. He did not know what to do. He had only 10 rupees in his hand. For the 10 rupees, he bought 2 kilos of tomatoes and then sold it door to door. In less than 2 hours, he succeeded to double 10 into 20, which was his capital. He repeated the operation 3 times and then went home with a flat profit. The man realized that he can survive by this way and started to go every day earlier and return late. By doing this, his money doubled and tripled every day. Shortly, he bought a car, a godown, and a few vehicles. With no time, he was a very big merchant, a wholesale merchant. He wanted to secure his business and his family, so he called an insurance broker. The broker came and explained various policies and then said, "Can I have your email ID so that I can send you more details?" The merchant replied, "I don't have any email ID." The broker asked curiously, "If you don't have any mail ID, how you are able to build up such a big empire?" He asked. Then the merchant had a hearty laugh. Yes, if I had had an email ID, by this time I would have been an office boy in a big company. This is how, because of his zeal to work hard and do something great, he was able to rise up. Similarly, Vellore makes a greater stress on firmness in action. The strength of an executive depends on the strength of his mind. Success always follows only men of sound mind. Failure always chases men of weak mind. No wavering, no withdrawing, no slumbering. Firmness of action is but robust mind. All others are of not that kind. Whatever people desire, they get as desired, if only they have firmness of mind. Similarly, he talks about not disclosing the purpose until the goal is reached. Disclose not the ultimate purpose, because it may be leaked and the success may be thwarted. The team, that is ultimate purpose of the task, need not be disclosed to anybody. The team may know only to the extent they should know. The premature disclosure of the purpose of your task will cause some impediments from unsocial or hostile people. True manliness is to execute and then reveal, as ooze ensue if exposed in the middle. Similarly, Thirukkural makes a great stress on delay not over decisions after deliberations. At the end of deliberation is a decision. It is harmful to delay execution. Decisions have to be taken as to which task deserves priority and which can await. Delay only the deeds that merit delay. Delay not deeds that merit no delay. It is ruinous to do what is not worth doing, and also not to do what is worth doing. Similarly, he makes a great stress on planning. Any deed without proper efforts and methods fails despite so many supporters. Think first and then venture on an act. To venture and then think is a fault. Similarly, he makes a reference to doing deeds at appropriate time. An effective executive has to keep in his mind that appropriate time and season is an important factor for success. A well-timed action is a sure cord that binds the fortune indeed. Similarly, is there any task not possible for those who choose the right time and means? The whole world is his who acts at the right time and place. Who aim to conquer the world, wait for apt time undeterred. Just like that, there are many couplets in this aspect. Similarly, Thirukkural makes a greater stress on wisdom. Only the wise can convert loss into gain and death into life. Fame in fall and life in doom are the only men of wisdom. And my book on corporate wisdom, I have given a story on this aspect. An old man lived alone in a town. He wanted to till his potato garden, but it was a very hard work. His only son was in jail. The old man wrote a letter to his son and mentioned his situation. Dear son, I am feeling pretty bad because it looks like I won't be able to plant my potato garden this year. I hate to miss doing the garden because your mother always loved garden. I am just getting too old to do this job. If you were here, perhaps I would be more comfortable. Then shortly came the reply, telegram from his son, for heaven's sake, don't dig up the garden. That's where I have buried the guns. At 4 a.m. the next day morning, a dozen policemen and officers showed up and dug up the entire garden without finding any guns. Confused, the old man wrote another note to his son telling him what had happened and asked him to what to do next. His son's reply quickly came, go ahead and plant your potatoes, Dad. It is the best that I could do for you from jail. So a man of wisdom can do anything. Choose right time and right people. An able administrator has to study each and every man under his control. Utmost care should be taken to select the people. Employ men who widens revenue sources, promotes wealth and removes hurdles. This deed, by these means, if he can perform, test him, if convinced, assign it to him. After examining one's fitness for the deed, employ him for that deed. Then similarly, he says not to judge someone by appearance. Uruvu kandu ellame vendum, says Thirukkural, despise not one by appearance, for there are men like the linchpin of a huge rolling car. Linchpin will be a small thing for a big rolling car. Similarly, testing and trusting. He says, for trusting a person to delegate a task to him, there are two ways of looking at it. Don't trust anyone until he proves he deserves it, or trust him to do his best until he proves otherwise. Trusting without testing, doubting the tested will lead to the great woes without end. Similarly, there are many more couplets about testing and trusting. Similarly, there I would like to present a case study from my book on corporate wisdom. There was an old man. He was hired by many years earlier by a town council to clear away the debris from the pools of water up in the mountain that fed the lovely stream flowing through the town. With faithful silence and regularity, the old man battled the hills, removing the leaves and branches, and wiped away the silt that would otherwise have blocked the contaminated fresh flow of water. The village soon became a popular attraction for vacationers. Graceful swans floated along the crystal clear stream. The mill wheels of various businesses located near the water turned day and night. Farmlands were naturally irrigated and became fertile, and the view from the restaurants was picturesque beyond description. Several years passed. One evening, the town council again met for a small meeting. As they reviewed the budget, one man's eye caught the salary being paid to the old man, that is the keeper of the stream. Who is that old man? Why do we keep him? No one ever saw him. For all we know, the stranger in the hill is doing nothing. He is not necessary any longer. By anonymous vote, they dispensed with the old man's services. For several weeks, nothing changed. Suddenly, there was no water in the small stream. Eventually, the fertility of the land went down. The town was not any more beautiful. Tourists also stopped coming there. So, testing, trusting, all that kind of thing we can understand from this. Similarly, setting reasonable targets, Vellore talks about that couplet, climbing a tree beyond the tip of a branch will be the end of life very much. So we should have always reasonable targets. He talks about self-control and discipline, conduct, character, and so on. For want of time, I'm not able to do. But Vellore makes a very great stress on be in harmony with the world. Who cannot live in harmony with the world, though learned, are fools indeed, he says. And similarly, he makes a stress on tolerance for the corporate leaders. By tit for tat, one cannot win. That policy will create a vicious circle from which you can't come out. Conquer men who do evils simply by your tolerance. Similarly, he talks about restraining anger. That is very applicable nowadays. And similarly, he talks about communication skills. Vellore has given a lot of couplets on communication skills. I would like to present a small case study from my book. Nagaraj was the CEO of an advertisement film. and he was a very irritable nature. He always shouted at his employees in a loud voice and treated them very badly. Once they wanted a few dogs to make a film, his assistant tried to ask him a few doubts, but Nagaraj screamed, "I don't have the time to clarify your doubts. Just do what I say." Next day, the shooting spot, there were a few stray dogs running around, creating a commotion. Actually, they use only trained dogs for such sequences. The boss did not give clear-cut instructions, and the employee did not have the presence of mind. And finally, there was only chaos. So that's why Vellore makes great stress on communication. Vellore also stresses on eternal vigilance, even for the corporate world. That is, boss's duty is to learn from spies promptly all happenings around him. Right? And similarly, he talks about redressal of grievances. The ruler or the executive should be accessible under unrighteous chief, precious with the disgraceful grief. Impartiality is another important quality for any executive. He says inquiring, favoring no one, being impartial, consulting, and rendering justice are all essential qualities for a corporate leader. He talks about project management in couplet 675. Resources, means, time, place, and deed. Examine these 5 before you proceed. A clear example is Narmada Dam project, how it became a failure, leading to the closure of a big company. Financial management, he talks there are many couplets talking about financial management. Lavish life of one who lives not within means, though grand, perishes without traces. Classic cases, Vijay Mallaya. It matters not even if income is limited, as long as expenditure is restricted. The wealth earned through fair means is a source of virtue and pleasure. Similarly, he talks about wise investment. Men of wisdom won't embark on anything and lose their capital to gain something. Thirukkural talks very nicely about moving with the boss. There is no specific reference to Thirukkural working anywhere or having any boss. But going by the intricate details he has given about handling a boss, looks like he must have worked in one of our offices. The officials serving the boss, that is superior, of varying temperament, should neither get very close to him nor remain very far away. Let them keep themselves at an optimum distance, just like those who warm themselves near the flame of fire. The superior officer is analogous to the flame of fire because of substantial power vested with the superior by virtue of his higher position in the line of hierarchy. He may be like a flame of fire to his subordinates. Agaladu Anugadu Tikaivar Pol says, move with a moody boss as with the fire, neither too far nor too near. In couplet number 691, he says this. Avoid whispering and laughing. And also in the presence of the boss, we should avoid whispering and laughing. In the presence, that's what Vellore also says in couplet number 694. And any subordinate should never venture into fishing out secrets of the boss. That Vellore says like this, neither overhear nor pursue the boss's secret, but learn only when he reveals it. And similarly, never undervalue your superior, because we can see some of the collectors will be young in age, whereas the RDOs or Tahsildars will be very senior in their age. Sometimes they will think he is after all a junior, but that is not the thing which Thirukkural says. Despise not the boss as kin or junior, but treat him with due honor. So all are practical suggestions given by Thirukkural. And similarly, Thirukkural says when to call on the boss. Whatever may be the pressure or the necessity or urgency of meeting the superior, it should always be kept in mind by the subordinate officer that the superior will be having more pressure of work and more responsibility. Choose a favorable time to call on him, observe his mood, ascertain his mind, choose not things which he does not like. Tell him in such a way that he should accept. Kuriparindu Kalam Karudi Veripil Venduva Vetra Cholal. Watch his mood, time, and then utter what the boss shuns not and likes better. Similarly, we can say a lot of things about greatness of personalities. Men of greatness do rare deeds in proper and perfect ways. Penimam entrum perumai, sirmai animam thanai viyardu. And finally, தோன்றிற் புகழோடு தோன்றுக அக்தலார் தோன்றாமை தோன்றல் நன்று. Do or die. That is, in this couplet, I have given interpretation like this. Thondrir thondruga thondrame, aktilar thondil thondrame. See, we are born already. There is no question of not being born. So enter a field and build up a repute. If not, it is better not to enter. That's how I have interpreted the meaning of this couplet. So there are many more couplets to be cited, to be followed by administrators in the civil service, or by the rulers in the governance, or by the corporate leaders, or by education institution leaders like Dr. GV. There are many. For want of time, I think it's a Zoom meeting. One is supposed to wind up the meeting within 1 hour. Now Dr. Rajendran also is here. He is an eminent scholar in Thirukkural. I am not a scholar in Thirukkural. Because of my love for Kural, I have learned something from people like Dr. Rajendran and from great leaders like Dr. GV and Dr. Parasuram. With these few words, with my hearty thanks to one and all, I close my speech. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. RajaRam.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. GV. I am Rajendran, founder coordinator of Voice of Vellore. I also thank all the participants who have joined us from all over the world. This is a journey. This is an attempt to take Thirukkural to the world stage through UNESCO in an institution form. Today we had two eminent speakers, Dr. G. Viswanathan and Dr. RajaRam. And both of them are practicing Thirukkural scholars. One can write scores of books, but if it is not practicing, then it's of no use. But both the eminent speakers today really dealt upon various aspects of Thirukkural and what we need to do to widen its circle of impact so that the humanity as a whole benefits out of the wisdom which is emanated from this land 2000 years back. It's a wholesome meal. It's a wholesome, one can lead a wholesome life. In fact, I was fortunate to be there in that meeting Dr. GB organized 2 years back in Chennai. I was there for about a couple of hours. All leaders cutting across various party lines. They were all there, shared their thoughts, and how do we take Tamil to the next stage? The wisdom of this land. How do we stay united and be a wealthy country? We need to make money. We need to prosper, and we need to share that secret with the whole world. That is what discussed there today. He underlined the particular aspect very well in his opening remarks. So we are thankful to you, sir. And what makes you different from the rest of the audiences here? There are various scholars, eminent people who worked in various places. You have an army of 25,000 warriors, and this army keep on replenishing every year, and is also expanding. This youth brigade, cutting across language. They are from various parts of the world. They are from various parts of our country, and this youth brigade will be the torch bearer of Thirukkural in future, sir. A span of 30 plus years, you built a reputed university. I visited this Chennai campus some time back, but I only saw your Vellore campus while traveling by train. I was in Singapore. I just immediately NUS, National University of Singapore, came to my mind. Such a world-class university, உள்ளுவதெல்லாம் உயர் உள்ளது. இங்க தள்ளவே கிடையாது. அந்த மாதிரி you have built an excellent educational institution where you will have all branches of studies. You will have as a vendor, as a chancellor, you will have freedom to introduce various credits in various like foreign countries. You will use various credits. I request you that I take this opportunity while thanking on behalf of all the participants here for a wonderful, inspiring speech which you have given and the light you have given. my request to you, sir, introduce Thirukkural in various branches of whatever the study is there and give them special credit. And I'm sure, sir, be it psychology, be it political science, be it art, be it science, everywhere there is something world over there to contribute. Today, Dr. RajaRam is a really able administrator, doesn't talk about theory, the best collector award. Collector is the kingpin. There may be secretary, there may be chief secretary, there may be principal secretary, all other figures are on the back end. But the collector is the fulcrum of the activities, all activities encompassing human life, all activities encompassing all sections of the society. He received Best Collector Award. That is only a milestone, and there are several things. His book is well known in the Thirukkural circle all over the country, all over the world. Pearls of Wisdom. So he is not only an eminent author, he is a practitioner. The people like both of you today shared your wisdom to this August gathering, and I'm sure it will also be taken to the next level. Both of you shared your wisdom, and both of you shown the way what Thirukkural can do if we can practice Thirukkural. If you learn, practice, learn, and then practice Thirukkural, where one can reach. Both of your life is an example, sir. And on behalf of all the organizers, first let me thank both of you. The n number of couplets, so 150 couplets he mentioned. I'm sure you quoted about 60, 70 couplets today in his speech. Fully, all like Thirukkural. Today his speech is full of Thirukkural, quoting various dimensions of Thirukkural. And only one aspect I would like to touch upon. People always compare Thirukkural. Several metaphors and similes Dr. RajaRam used in his address while sharing his thought about Thirukkural. One of the things is cutting diamonds, like leading light. I mean, lighthouse gives light for years and years, but here it gives a fresh light. Fresh light depending upon the evolving situation. That is the greatness of the Thirukkural. That is what Dr. Kolendra Swami in his book, Sahitya Academy award-winning book, The Immortal Kural, he has mentioned. It is like a mathematical formula. You apply value for a plus b whole square equal to 2a, a square plus b square plus 2ab. Keep on changing the variable, you will get different results. So different walks of life, if you keep on feeding different values, you will get different results. This is what both of you today touched upon, especially the corporate wisdom Dr. RajaRam today shared with us. I'm sure educationist and your administrator, and Sir was also a legislator. So this wisdom, I'm sure, it will be understood by the humanity and it will cross the shores. So with these my initial remarks. We are here. Dr. Arumugam Parasuraman had 20 years plus experience with the UNESCO. His rich experience and his passion for Thirukkural, with all your support, I'm sure, sir, through the state government and central government, we will take it to UNESCO, and the day will come, it will be recognized by UNESCO, and an award also. Government of India make an appeal to institute and UNESCO. So with these remarks, I'm sure several participants are here would like to make their observation, and if they have any questions, sir, with both of your permission, with the permission of the chair, Dr. Arumugam Parasuraman, I invite the audience here to raise your hand, introduce your name, and then briefly mention about the today's lecture. And if you have any specific question, kindly direct to both the eminent speakers of today. Thank you very much. And now I invite the audience.
So there was a question about why not the address could not be in Tamil, because I was told that it was an international conference. That's how we have to speak in English. Otherwise, we could have made it on Tamil also. Just to clarify some enlightened readers, I'm telling this. Yes, sir.
Exactly. That is the purpose of this lecture series in English. So we have been talking about Thirukkural for over several years. Dr. Prabhakaran is here from US. He also addressed one of the sessions. பாரதியார் சொல்ற மாதிரி மறைவாக நமக்குள்ளே பழங்கதைகள் பேசுவதில் பொறுத்த அர்த்தம் இல்லைன்னு சொல்லுவார். நமக்குள்ள பேசிக்கலாம், வாழ்ந்துக்கலாம், எல்லாம் செஞ்சுக்கலாம். but how do we take it to the world audience? The only
We have
medium
to-
is to give.
We have
Sir.
to take to the world level, next
Yeah,
level.
world level. That is
That's
the
what-
precisely that's the reason. Thanks, Dr. Rajaram, for clarifying that.
Dr. GV also made a reference to that aspect of
Uh,
if Thirukkural had written in English,
Yes.
perhaps he would have become more popular than Shakespeare.
I think Dr. Prabhakaran wants to say something. Please unmute yourself and please go ahead, sir.
Yes, thank you. Dr. Viswanathan and Dr. Rajaram, both of you have did a very great job with very nice presentation. I always admire Dr. Viswanathan for his contribution to education, contribution to Tamil culture, language, and he's initiated this Tamil Ekam is a very phenomenal one. Today's speech by Dr. RajaRam was very interesting and very informative. I think he tried to quote a lot of Qurans in a short time, and a lot of the case studies of his office boy and Nagaraj and potato farmer was really interesting. I wish I don't have his book. I'd like to read his book. I've been working on Thirukkural for a number of years. I've written a book in English. I've written a book in Tamil. I'm also writing a blog called Simple Answers to Serious Questions in English. The idea is I raise a hypothetical question and find an answer from Thirukkural, from an appropriate Thirukkural. So far, I've written about 60 or 70. I plan to write about another 100 days, another 100 questions, and publish that eventually as a book. But in all my efforts in working with Thirukkural in English, I found Rajaraman's translation is really excellent. I have about 10 copies, 10 different translations of Thirukkural in English in my house. But the one I always refer to is Dr. Rajaraman's translation. Thirukkural is difficult to translate. It is very succinct. It's like a tweet. It's even shorter than the tweet. Tweet, you can have 140 characters. And Thirukkural, some of them don't even have that many. So it is indeed very, very difficult to translate. So your translation is excellent. And also below the translation, you have a simple explanation. I like that also very much. I have extensively quoted your translation in my book and also in my blogs. I want to say one thing. We are doing a good job. We are talking about Thirukkural. Again, as Mr. Rajendran said, no matter what we do, we eventually end up talking only to ourselves. We have not penetrated the other circles. I have a suggestion. Some of you can think about it, elaborate on it. My suggestion is we have to encourage the academicians, the scholars, to write good articles, research papers on Thirukkural and get them published in reputed journals like Harvard Business Review. If somebody can write a research paper comparing Vellore's concepts of management with that of Peter Drucker or somebody else, then publish it in Harvard Business Review, that has a tremendous appeal. People read about Confucius, people read about Lao Tzu, but nobody ever reads about Thirukkural except us, only the Tamil people. We are only in our circle. Dr. Parasuraman's effort is very laudable. If we can take Thirukkural to UNESCO, it will have a wide appreciation, a lot of people will read. But it's like the chicken and egg. If everybody knows about somebody, they will read. If everybody reads, then everybody will know. So which comes first? So I think one way to do is to promote it through the academic circles, to get people to publish in reputed journals. And also, as Mr. Rajendran said, introduce Thirukkural into the community, into the students. So eventually, if not today, in 100 years, it will be known all over the world. A simple example, for example, about 50 years ago, very few people would know about Periyar, apart from TamilNadu. Today, people know about Periyar in Karnataka, in Bengal, in the United States, and in Germany. So we need to think about slightly out of the box and how we can promote Thirukkural so that it will benefit humanity at large. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any of the, sir, as education is your user on that, or Rajaram, both the speaker? Thank you, sir. And Dr. Prabhakaran himself written several articles and is continuously writing on Sangam literature and the Thirukkural. Great scholar, and his father was also an eminent Saivite scholar. And his father was the root cause for 3-volume work of G. Varadarajan on Tirumandram. This is for audience view. So now 2 more hands I could see. One Mr. Ranganathan. Can you please unmute yourself and yeah, please.
Sir, good evening, sir. One and all. Can I speak in Tamil, sir?
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. சார் என்னுடைய பேர் வந்து ரங்கநாதன். நான் பேசிக்கா வந்து பிஃபார்ம் மதுரை மெடிக்கல் காலேஜ் 94 to 98. என்னை இன்ட்ரோடியூஸ் பண்ணிக்கிறதுக்கான சொல்றேன். கிராமத்தில் இருக்கிறேன். ஒரு டாக்டர் கலாம் காலேஜ் ஆஃப் ஃபார்மசி அப்படின்னு எனக்கு பக்கத்தில் ஒரு காலேஜ் இருக்கு. அதில் வந்து அசிஸ்டன்ட் ப்ரொஃபஸராக ஒர்க் பண்ணியிருக்கிறேன். இப்போ நான் விவசாயம் பார்த்துட்டு இருக்கிறேன். அது இல்லாமல் இந்தியன் இன்ஸ்டியூட் ஆஃப் மைண்ட் டைனமிக் அப்படிங்கிறதுல வந்து தமிழ்நாடு லெவலில் கோஆர்டினேட்டராக இருக்கிறேன். அடுத்து வந்து என்னுடைய ஒய்ஃப் வந்து பிரின்சிபால் இன்சார்ஜாக இருக்காங்க கவர்மெண்ட்ல, ஒரு கவர்மெண்ட் ஆர்ட்ஸ் அண்ட் சயின்ஸ் காலேஜில். எனக்கு 2 பசங்க. ஒன்று தான் சார்.
சொல்லுங்க, உங்க கேள்வியை கருத்து சொல்லுங்க.
இல்லை சார், எந்த கருத்துமே என்னுடைய ஒரே ஒன்று வேண்டுதல் தான் சார். ஒன்றுங்களா அடுத்தடுத்து இந்த மீட்டிங்ல நான் வந்து கலந்துக்கிறதுக்கு கொஞ்சம் உதவி பண்ணுங்க சார். நான் என்னுடைய அட்ரஸ் கொடுத்துருக்குறேன். ஒன்று. ரெண்டாவது, நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இதுலேருந்து நான் தெரிஞ்சுக்கிற வேண்டியிருக்கு. காரணம் என்னவென்றால், அதாவது நான் ஒரு தீசிஸ் நானா எழுதிக்கிட்டு இருக்கிறேன். அதாவது யூ ஆர் த காட் அப்படின்னு ஒரு தீசிஸ் எழுதிக்கிட்டு இருக்கேன். அதுக்கு நிறைய சோர்ஸ் எனக்கு தேவைப்படுது. அந்த தலைப்பு ஹெட்டிங் வந்து யூ ஆர் த காட், ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஒன். செகண்ட் ஒன் வந்து கடவுள் இறந்து விட்டார், என்னை நானே தேடுகிறேன். இது 2 கொஸ்டின். ரெண்டுக்குமே
வணக்கம் திரு ரங்கநாதன். உங்களை வலைத்தமிழ்ல இருந்து தொடர்பு கொள்வாங்க, உங்களுக்கு தேவையான உதவிகளை செய்வாங்க. இது திருக்குறள் சம்பந்தமான ஏதாவது, இந்த கூட்டம் சம்பந்தமான ஏதாவது கேள்விகள் இருந்தா நீங்க கேட்கலாம். அடுத்தவங்களுக்கு வாய்ப்பு.
நன்றி சார். அவ்வளவுதான் சார் என்னுடைய. நன்றி சார், உங்களோட பரிந்துரைக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி சார்.
உங்க தொடர்பு என்ன இருக்குது, நாங்க தொடர்பு பண்ணோம். நன்றி.
ரொம்ப நன்றி சார். தேங்க்யூ வெரி மச் சார்.
நீங்க அட்மிட் பண்ணிட்டு பேசுங்க.
ஐயா, நான் பேசலாமா? சோம வீரப்பன்
பேசுங்க.
பேசுங்க. நான் சிவகுருநாதன் அட்மிட் பண்ணல, பேசுங்க.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I could not attend the initial part of the meeting. 2 luminaries, great persons in Thirukkural, Dr. Viswanathan as well as Dr. RajaRam have spoken today. First, I will talk about Viswanathan, whom I met about 2 months back, and I have also written about Thirukkural in management. I presented my book. Normally, when we give the book, people will look at the cover, but he is a person who read almost one article he read, and he told our viewpoints are the same. Vellore is one of the oldest management gurus on this planet. Today, Ratna Sabhabadi sir told that if we want to take Thirukkural, first let us see that articles are published in journals like Harvard Business Review. I fully agree. And as an academician, I have been a guest faculty with various management schools. Recently, also, I addressed NIT students for MBA in Trichy. People are accepting. In fact, today, Dr. RajaRam has given extensive, as our CR sir told, more than 50-60 Kurals. Must be more than that if you really count it. So many Kurals he has told. The thing is, if you read management as a subject, it starts with planning, organizing, staffing, monitoring, etc. Incidentally, Thirukkural has all these chapters. Not only these chapters, much more than these things also. Vellore talks about planning for waging a war. And we can take it for corporate wars, planning in corporate sector. Vellore talks about delegation, and இதனால் இவன் முடிக்கும் என ஆராய்ந்து அதனை அவன் கண்ணு விடல். இதை விட ஒரு நல்ல டெலிகேஷனுக்கு டெஃபினிஷன் இருக்க முடியாது. All that I want to say is, you should make Thirukkural as part of the management subject, not to glorify Thirukkural, but to benefit management students. Because I don't think any management school teaches as to how a junior should conduct with his senior. Today, RajaRam sir very beautifully told, collector may have a lot of pressure. You should not just walk in and place a problem before him. You must assess his mood. You must not talk what he does not like. Vellore says, if you have to get a thing done, look at his mood, look at the opportune moment, slowly open the topic and get your thing done. Very beautifully told. That is why when Thirukkural was reviewed, Management Mantras, my book was reviewed by Business Line, they told, this contains stuff which they do not teach in IIMs. I don't think any textbook talks as to how a junior should conduct himself with the boss. Mannare Cherndodukal, beautiful chapter. And as sir told today, some people, juniors will think collector vayas kammi thane, avarukku anubhavam kammi thane. You should respect him. Chair is chair and power is power. So again, I come back to my request. Let us first see that, at least in TamilNadu, Thirukkural is part of the management subject. After all, in Thirukkural, 38 chapters are Aram, 25 chapters are Kamathupal, 70 chapters, more than 50%. He talks about management and business only. And he talks from the first citizen. Mannare thana ஆரம்பிக்கிறார் அவரு, இறைமாட்சியில தானே ஆரம்பிக்கிறாரு. நம்ம கண்ட்ரியில என்ன சொல்றோம், ஃபர்ஸ்ட் சிட்டிசன் ஆஃப் இந்தியாவில் தானே இப்போ பிரசிடென்ட் ஆஃப் இந்தியாவில். ஸோ வி ஷுட் இன்க்ளூட் மேனேஜ்மெண்ட் ஆஸ் அ சப்ஜெக்ட். ஐ திங்க் பர்சன்ஸ் லாட் ஆஃப் powers that we are here in today's conference, let us all move towards that direction. I thoroughly enjoyed the presentation, sir. Thank you very much. There is more and more to know about Thirukkural. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Somayarapan. Continuous articles and the Tamil Hindu invited a lot of attention. I'm sure, Sir will consider your request. The next, Mr. Sivagurunathan. Any specific?
Am I audible, sir?
Audible, please.
Sir, good evening to everyone, sir. I have been very delighted to be part of this elite forum, which is discussing about the Thirukkural. I made a small humble submission. It would have been in Tamil like that, because most of the Kural I could not able to immediately connect whatever he is telling. Immediately I could not able to recollect the Kural, what he is meaning. That's what I made a submission. My sincere apologies to the elite members. And what I like to share is this Thirukkural has told about Kallunanmai, Pulal Maruthal. இந்த கல்லுண்ணாண்மையும் புலால் மறுத்தலையும் ரொம்ப சின்சியரா எல்லாரும் ஃபாலோ பண்ணியிருந்தாங்கன்னா தமிழ்நாடு ஒரு சொர்க்கமாக இருந்திருக்கும். இது நம்ம திருக்குறளை எவ்வளவு போற்றி கொண்டாடுகிறோமோ அந்த அளவுக்கு பின்பற்றவில்லையோ என்கிற மிக மிக மன வருத்தத்தில் இருக்கிறேன். இதற்கு அறிஞர்கள் எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து நம்மளுடைய திருக்குறளையும் திருவள்ளுவரையும் போற்றுவது மட்டும் இல்லாமல் அதை அனைத்து மக்களும் பின்பற்றினால் தமிழ்நாடு ஒரு சொர்க்க பூமியாகவும் இந்த உலகம் ஒரு சொர்க்க பூமியாகவும் இருக்கும் என்பதில் ஐயமில்லை. என்னுடைய வருத்தமெல்லாம் அதுதான். இவ்வளவு நல்ல ஒரு திருக்குறளை, ஒரு நல்ல சொன்ன விஷயத்தை தெருவுக்கு தெருவு மதுக்கடை, தெருவுக்கு தெரு கசாப்பு கடைகள், இது ரொம்ப ரொம்ப மன வருத்தத்தை அளிக்கிறது சார். இதுதான் திருவள்ளுவருக்கு சொல்லக்கூடிய மரியாதையா என்ற மிக மன வருத்தமும் ஆற்றாமையும் இருப்பதால் நான் ஒரு சிறிய துளி இந்த உலக சமுதாயத்தில் பேரறிஞர்களும் செல்வந்தர்களும் அறிவுள்ளவர்களும் இதை எப்படியாவது தயவு கூர்ந்து ஒரு இயக்கமாக முன்னெடுத்து திருவள்ளுவர் படி நாம் தமிழ்நாடு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் நடக்க வேண்டும், உலகம் நடக்க வேண்டும், இது ஒரு சொர்க்க பூமியாக திகழ வேண்டும் என்பதே என்னுடைய ஆவாஸ் சார். இது என்னுடைய சிறிய சிற்றறிவுக்கு பட்டது. இது தப்புகள் இருக்கலாம்.
உங்களுடைய கருத்து புரிந்துகிட்டோம். கருத்துக்கள் பகிர்ந்து கொண்டதுக்கு ரொம்ப நன்றி.
வேற யாராவது இன்னைக்கு பேசுறதை பத்தி கருத்துக்கள் அல்லது வேற ஏதாவது உங்களுடைய வேண்டுகோள்கள் அல்லது சஜஷன்ஸ் ஏதாவது இருந்தா சொல்லுங்க. வேற எதுவும் இல்லைன்னா தென் எதுக்கு போயிடலாம். அதுக்கு முன்னால ஒரே ஒரு சின்ன தகவல் மட்டும் சொல்றேன். வாய்ஸ் ஆஃப் வல்லூர் ஃபேமிலி ஜாயின் பண்ண நீங்க வாய்ஸ் ஆஃப் வல்லூர் வெப்சைட் இருக்கு, நீங்க போய் பாத்தீங்கன்னா தெரியும், voiceofvallure.org சொல்லிட்டு. If you could send a mail, then we are trying to, we are over 260 members are there from all over the world, and we are trying to learn, practice, and take Thirukkural to the next level. And Dr. Ashraf, he has put Thirukkural in 23 languages in his website, both Indian as well as foreign countries. So we are all as a family, we are trying to take Thirukkural to the next level. Any other question today? And one more thing I would like to share, to keep it as a part of the syllabus. I was just, last week we had an opportunity to make a presentation to some people in our defense forces. They talk about Sun Tzu, war technique. It's being taught in the various countries, and we have Vellore. There is a section called MA Defense Studies in Madras University. I spoke to someone there. I asked him, "Do you have a syllabus Thirukkural?" Because it's like atomic power. You can use it for any purpose. Thirukkural makes you the best, whatever you want to do. If you want to be a warrior, and you will make you the best warrior in the world. அவர் இந்த குடி செயல் வகை அதிகாரத்தில் சொல்லும் போதே அமரகத்து வன்கணர் போல தமரகத்தும் ஆற்றுவார் மேற்றே போறேன்னு அந்த எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்லி you will have to do the work on a war footing அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவார் அவரு. அந்த வினைங்கிறதுக்கு வார்னு போட்டோம்னா அது வாருக்கு உண்டான ரிசல்ட் கிடைக்கும். எம்ஏ டிஃபென்ஸ் ஸ்டடியில இருக்கான்னு நான் கேட்டேன். They said it's not there in the syllabus. மெட்ராஸ் யூனிவர்சிட்டியில எம்ஏ டிஃபென்ஸ் ஸ்டடியில திருவள்ளூருடைய பாடம் இல்லைன்னா வேற எந்த யூனிவர்சிட்டியில வைக்க முடியும்? எனவே அவர் is an apostle of peace. Vellore is apostle of peace. We are talking about peace. We want to build peace in the minds of men and women from all over the world. That's UNESCO objective. But I'm telling Thirukkural is a very powerful tool which can be used for any purpose. So we need to include in the syllabus, and I'm sure the Chancellor will take note of it and do the needful. And UGC has issued a circular 5 years back requesting all the universities in India to conduct sessions on Thirukkural among the students. So this is circular I shared with Dr. RajaRam in his phone. I'm sure he will share it with the Chancellor. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no other question, Satish Rajamani, I find your hand. Briefly be there, and then we'll try to.
Yeah. Hello, respected Chancellor Sir, all the chief guests. I'm a proud, I'm a proud VIT alum and the student of Dr. G. Viswanathan. It was indeed a great session for us, and it's a great way to start my weekend. Thank you very much for organizing this. Just a small suggestion, as you all know, today we are in the digital world. The way the social media is reaching out to a lot of people, I think we should this team probably should actually extend a lot of initiatives of putting Thirukkural and trying to spread Thirukkural through the digital media, be it in Instagram, social that. In fact, whenever Dr. G. Viswanathan sir comes to interacts with us, whenever he meets any of us, asks how much Thirukkural and here especially the next generation kids. The social media certainly can play a vital role, and any support. I know my friend Partha is here on the call. He's doing a fantastic job on the social media. So whatever is required, we are all there to support, even to take it forward to on the social media. So thank you all. It was a great start for my weekend. Thank you very much, and my salute and my vanakkam to everybody. And Nandri, vanakkam.
Thank you, Satish.
It's my honor, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Today is the birth anniversary of Dr. V.V. Swaminathan Iyer. We gratefully remember him on this day. People like him have done human service to bring all our glories on paper and print. We gratefully remember him. Sir, I request the chair to make final remark, and then I request the Patsardi of Valley Tamil, who has been doing great work and various friends, untiring work. Asavilada Vukam. That's what I learned from him. So, sir, Dr. Arun Prasraman, would like to say some closing remark, and then we'll go to Partha, sir.
Yes. No, I think you've done a wonderful job, Dr. Prabhakaran, yourself, and the exchanges that we had. And once again, I reiterate my sincere thanks to Dr. Viswanathan, Dr. RajaRam for making it. And we look forward to your continued support to this great movement, the journey of taking Thirukkural to the world through UNESCO. We will need your support, your guidance. Especially, we have a very important issue to resolve, is to get both the state government of TamilNadu and the central government of TamilNadu to work together to support this initiative so we can then take it to UNESCO with confidence and with full legitimacy and get it recognized as a book of universal literature and also install a statue of Vellore in the precincts of UNESCO in Paris. This is our dream, this is our prayers, and I've sought also blessings from Vellore in Mylapore Kovil. So let's all hope that we will reach this goal. Thank you very much. On to you, Partha Sarathi.
Vanakkam. Thanks for all of you joining this evening, and it's a great session from Mr. RajaRam. We have been waiting for this corporate wisdom in Thirukkural. It's one of the interesting topics. So far we had 15 events, and this is the 16th event we are having in this series. And every month we have one or two. This constantly is happening. And during the COVID, we had this series started, and we're constantly moving on this direction. And we need all your support to reach the various authorities to accomplish this great goal of making this as a world book in UNESCO. So whatever the suggestions or contacts and valuable feedback that you have, please feel free to reach out to us or share with us. And we need to work with the state and central government to achieve this goal. And thanks for Dr. Viswanathan sir joining this great evening. And this two personalities today made this event as a very special event. And we need all your support, and thanks for the organizing leader, Dr. Parasuraman sir, for pulling all the personalities from various aspects, and not only from India, from abroad, and various non-Tamil speaking people to reach this Thirukkural goal and this knowledge to outside Tamil community, so that it's helpful to the world. And thanks for joining, for all the participants and everyone who is watching on the social media and various websites. And please visit internationalthirukkural foundation.org and voiceofvellore.org. So both the websites, and of course Valley Tamil, and for all the past events, and share your email IDs and stay connected to us. And we are finally reaching our we'll be reaching our goal very soon to declare this as a world book. So please keep your thoughts on that. And this is going to be not only helpful to the Tamil communities, to the world, and to achieve the not only the peace, it's for the leadership and various Tamil. So thanks for joining today. Thank you, everyone.